TV's titled Queen of the Movies. Ah!
It was about time you got here. I've been waiting. I just wanted. Doesn't matter. Come on in.
Title Queen with the Movies.
Johnny, for Halloween I've chosen Mysterious Island from 1961, starring Michael Craig, Joan Greenwood, Gary Merrill, and Herbert Lom. The reason this movie is wonderful is because it was the product of Ray Harryhausen. Now, Ray Harryhausen was a master at stop-action animation. He would take these models, and this is one from one of his Sinbad movies. And for every eighth of an inch of a movement, he would take a separate picture. And then he would put them all together, and they always had this kind of movement like this. Now, the first movie that he worked on was Mightyjoyoung, which he worked on in the late 40s with Willis O'Brien, who had done King Kong. After that, he teamed up with this producer, Charles Schneer, and they proceeded over the next 20 years to turn out a series of monster movies and fantasy movies that are so much fun. And the last movie that they did together was the original Clash of the Titans, which was in the mid-70s. In that movie, the big monster of that movie was the Kraken. The Kraken. I remember going to see that movie in a really hot theater in July, and there was no air conditioning, and everybody was dying. And I was with my friend Katie, and finally Laurence Olivier said, "There's only one thing to do," and my friend Katie said, "Better get Kraken." And the audience lost it. Not the reaction he would have wanted. I have been an admirer of Ray Harryhausen's forever, and one of my favorite films was this one, Mysterious Island. It was based on Jules Verne's book, and it takes place during the Civil War. And there is this group of Civil War prisoners, and they jump on this balloon. They escape the prison, and there's a hot air balloon. They jump into it and during the height of this storm, and they cut the ropes, and they escape from the prison, and it takes them out over the ocean. This storm sweeps them through, and they go thousands and thousands of miles. And finally, lightning hits the balloon, and the balloon goes down, and they are washed onto this island. Now, when they get on this island, they meet up with two women, Joan Greenwood, who's this English actress with this very smoky voice, you know, she's lovely, and her niece.
Are you in charge?
Yes, ma'am.
I take it that we're not in Marseille, in spite of what the gentleman offered us.
And they start trying to survive. They have no idea where they are. They have no idea. It's a tropical island, but they don't know where they are. And that's when the fun starts, because they run into a whole series of creatures. The first thing they run into is this giant crab. It's enormous. And it picks this guy up, and it starts to, you know, it's going to carry him into the water, and they've got to get rid of this crab.
That's the best crab I ever cooked.
They get attacked by this giant bird that looks like a baby bird, and they have to jump on it and try to stab it. At one point, the two young lovers, the little girl and guy, are out sunning themselves, and they come across this honeycomb, and they start, you know, eating this honey, and they climb in, and it's huge, and all of a sudden, this gigantic bee flies in and proceeds to wall them all up inside this honeycomb, you know. And it's all these adventures, and it moves at a really great pace, and it's got great color photography. And the reason it works is because the actors absolutely, most of them are Brits, and they absolutely believe totally what they're doing, which always helps in these fantasy movies, you know. The more the actors are totally convincing and believe what they're doing, the more you will too.
And, if I may say so, gentlemen, solid as a rock.
Something happens, and a couple of these creatures that have attacked them die out of nowhere before they can kill them, which leads them to believe that they're not the only ones on this island. And they go exploring, and out of the ocean comes this person. And he looks like a monster at first, and then he takes the helmet off and holds it up. And it's Captain Nemo from the Nautilus, from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, played by Herbert Lom.
Why have you picked this particular time to interrupt this solitude? I'll tell you. Because your behavior, gentlemen and ladies, in a struggle for survival has been quite admirable.
They're on borrowed time because, of course, at the same time that this is all happening, the island is an erupting volcano, and the whole island is going to go into the water.
I can use your resourcefulness. You see, that volcano is on the verge of eruption.
Basically, that's the premise. It's just an action-filled Saturday afternoon movie. The thing that's so amazing to me about this is that this was done at a time when they didn't have computer-generated special effects. This was a long process. Each movie that Harryhausen did took 2 to 3 years to do all of the special effects and put all of these animated creatures and bring them to life. And with each successive one, they got more and more and more real. He did a movie called Jason and the Argonauts, which at the conclusion has this army of skeletons that come and attack Jason, and they are absolutely terrifying. They're so lifelike in the way they come up and the way they react, and they have sword fights with these guys. So, for all of you with a kid at heart, here is Ray Harryhausen's Mysterious Island. Ooh, so good.
Let's all go to the lobby.
This is a story of a guy who gets crabs. Giant ones. You don't talk about a mysterious island.
The popcorn can't be beat.